Oh, it's recording now.
All right.
And then we get silent when it starts recording. That's
All right. So, who did you want to introduce, and then who goes first or whatever?
All right, it's Out of the Box, and this is Blaststone Mike, and we have a special guest tonight. His name is Michael Ocho. Well, he's got a longer name, but I call him.
I go by Ocho. I go by Ocho.
Yeah, and Michael is an actor from Arizona, and he has a new movie just come out called John Light, and we'll talk about that a little bit in a minute. And everybody else, introduce yourself.
I'm Kiki. I am a psychic medium tarot reader, but I am down to earth. You can catch me on my Facebook page at Kiki, and that's K-I space K-I Navarro on my Facebook page, and I have all my information there.
And I am Ryan Almighty, professional weirdo, tattooist, blood painter, illustrator extraordinaire, and I'm a 2 extra large. I had to one up you being a medium.
On the beach.
Hey, you know, Kiki forgot Kiki forgot what everybody said. She's a hot grandma too. So
oh yeah,
that.
I'm a grandma. Yeah,
Congratulations, yeah.
You do not look like a grandma.
Mm-mm.
You don't look like grandmas I remember.
Yeah, see, because I was born pregnant.
Damn, that's like really putting it into perspective way out there. Hopefully Jonathan will be in. Jonathan Tiersten, you know, he's done every show with us. Hopefully he'll be in or pop in a little bit. Y'all know who he is. We don't have to get into that. So we're just going to go ahead and start talking. And let's see. Ryan, what do you want to talk about first?
Well, it looks like Bernie Sanders dropped out, so I guess Trump's going to be running unopposed.
Unopposed?
Yeah. I just don't see him having much trouble with Mr. Bad Touch dementia there. So.
That's a piece right there.
I'm sad because who wouldn't want to watch a debate with Donald Trump and Bernie Sanders? It would be so fucking epic and awesome. Even if you're not into politics, it would be entertaining at least. And we need entertainment right now.
Yeah, it's so weird. It's so weird because with all this that's going on right now, it doesn't even feel like an election year.
No, it doesn't.
It looks like Trump's gonna go unopposed and he's gonna do another 4 years. It's just the way it is.
Biden will oppose him if he remembers to show up.
Oh, Uncle Joe. Old Uncle Joe.
The worst person to go against them too.
I know. I mean, why couldn't it be like Tulsi or Bernie Sanders? I mean, somebody that actually would be interested in to watch a debate with. You know, I'm sad. I'm not impressed with the whole Democratic choice right now. But you know, what?
I mean, come on. Let's think about it. The last election happened. Trump against Hillary Clinton. They didn't talk about shit, but mudsling each other. I mean, it's like, oh, you touched
which was awesome.
Oh my god, you can't touch my pussy. Blah blah blah. You know, it was back and forth about that. It was never about what actually either one of them could do. It was always about.
It was like watching WWE.
Oh yeah, living in Berkeley at the time, or near Berkeley. I lived in Alameda, California. It was a friggin' war zone. People were not, let's just say, staying calm during the elections. And then when Trump actually won, I'm like, holy shit.
I'm gonna admit something.
Trump has these closet supporters, so they don't want to admit they're Trump supporters, but they come out during voting time.
Yeah, but I wanted to touch bases on that because I do Ubers and I live in a Republican town in a liberal state, California. Bakersfield is red to the bone. A lot of the people that I pick up that are red that I've done as double riders in the beginning before Corona and the elections were on, they would say they were all for Trump. A lot of the people that I have picked up like 1 or 2 times while this stuff has been happening said that they would not vote for him because it has affected them in such a way that I really feel that some of his supporters, like you said, the closet supporters that are wishy-washy, I think that they would vote for Biden just to get him out, because a lot of people are affected from corona. That really, death really affects someone's choice. Something so permanent. People not being able to bury their loved ones. People not able to going to funerals or hospitals to see their person die of cancer. A lot of Republicans are going to come together and they're going to vote for somebody that's going to win. I think it would be Joe. I feel that a lot of people that want hope from Obama running, that's the last hope that you can get from Uncle Joe. I'm not saying that he is him. I'm just saying that it's the remembrance of he was his vice president, so they get a little glimmer of hope for voting for him. Yeah.
I gotta say, I'm a complete Republican. We've all talked about that.
Yes.
But I have to say, something that's really wild is when you watch the president now, is they don't show everybody else with him. Well, now they're not doing that. They're all secluded and there's video or whatever. But when they were doing it, they show everybody behind him. Now it's just on him because, what's his name? Fuki or Fauci or whatever, the main guy, the little short guy with the glasses.
The doctor?
Yeah. He's always shaking his head at him. He's always freaking putting his head in his face. And he's like, I just wish this son of a bitch would shut the fuck up. And it's like, me personally, hey, go see if that's him. The thing about it personally with me is I don't want another president during all this. I don't want no other president, okay, during all this. Okay, hold on one second.
Oh, no, I'm waiting. I just want to put it up after you're done. I'm not trying to get into what you're saying.
As far as I'm concerned, I still love my president, but he just needs to shut the fuck up. He's driving me insane. Because he'll one minute say, all these people are going to die, and the next minute, we're going to open up in June. Listen,
so do you agree with what I just said, though?
Hold on. It's delusional to think that we're going to open up this country before September or October.
We're not.
It's delusional.
We're not.
And I'm not trying to preach, but we are never going to go back the fucking way we were before. Stores are closing down. When you see AMC theaters say that they're going to close their doors, Longhorn Steakhouse or Logan Steakhouse fired everybody. They fired everybody at Logan's and closed down 240 different places. We are not going back to normal. We're not.
It's cause and effect. It's cause and effect, dear. But do you? Okay, I'm going to let you talk, but I just want to iterate real quick. So what I said before, do you agree with that? Because you hit a lot of points that I said. So I'm just want to know. Do you agree with that?
I totally agree. But I just don't want to see, my thing is, I don't want to see another president come in and take over when we're in such a clusterfuck now. I just don't want to see it.
I agree with Mike.
Even if it was a Democrat, I wouldn't want to see that Democrat go out of office right now because it's going to be so fucked up for all of us that we're going
to make things worse.
Yeah, what are we going to do? And the thing about it is this. I know, Ryan, hold on. I'm not done. Just give me 1 second. You're next, buddy. I promise. Think about this. We might not even be able to vote in November. That means that he will still be president anyway. All this is nonsense. This is nonsense right now. And for them to overturn that they could go vote the other day, who in the hell from the Supreme Court decides to let people vote when we're in the middle of a catastrophe like we're in? There's people dying. There's 850 some people dying a day in New York. A day. Now, you take that perspective of the flu, okay? But guess what? Every one of us probably have this. We're all carriers.
And then every state that has been saying that the percentages for African Americans is higher, and they don't know why. And so, we were watching TV yesterday, and the mayor from Los Angeles said they had 1,000 deaths that day yesterday.
Okay, Ryan, go ahead. Ryan,
okay, well, I actually do disagree with you, Kiki. I actually think Trump has more support now than before this happened. And I, for one, actually, I was always a Bernie Sanders supporter and still would be. So I want to start out by saying that before. I'm glad Jonathan's not here because he would be flipping out on me saying anything that's even close to being positive towards Trump. But it's an unprecedented situation. There was a Spanish flu and at the turn of the century, but nobody expected this. They had indications, but nobody knew what this was going to happen. I don't blame the president for what's going on right now. And,
no, I don't either.
I'm talking now. Watching people politicize it and try to turn it into, well, he's telling people to take fish tank cleaner. People are fishing for political reasons, and that's selfish and fairly evil. Now is the time for people to actually come together. The other thing with Trump is my time living in California in the Bay Area, it got to the point where you were talking about people being closeted Trump supporters. Well, when people are so hateful to you, if you even have any kind of support for him where you have to be, that turns people a little angry. It doesn't make the Dems look very good. And all this bullshit with these impeachment trials that are bogus bullshit, the Dems are really fucking up and need to pull themselves up and have a revolution amongst themselves, because they're pulling an awful lot of dipshittery. And you can only make so many false accusations, and the media can only have so many half-truths before people start noticing it and turning on the people who are doing it. Their intentions are good, but they're so obsessed that they're shooting themselves in the foot.
What do you think, Michael?
So I was just being respectful to everyone. The thing is, me being Hispanic, I get a lot of flack because I'm a Republican, and I get flack from my other minorities for my political beliefs. And I do not believe Trump should be blamed. I do not believe that he should be getting this backlash, because this is not his fault. And I feel like he's doing the best he can in the situation. There's a lot of bad things that he just should, like you said, shut the F up about. But I just hate that we as a society can't pull together through this, through this whole thing. Yeah. Why can't we all just come together and instead of being divided?
Let me tell you something. My governor, Andy Beshear, is the most loved governor in the United States right now. He comes on at 5 o'clock every day. He tells us we're all going to get through this. Everything's going to be okay. He's one of the nicest human beings. When he talks about death, he's in tears. He's a real person. And you know what? Being a Democrat, he still says Donald Trump's doing the best he can. Yeah. You don't hear Democrats talk good about a Republican like Donald Trump.
Yeah, and
he's like,
people's family members are dying. People's family members are dying, and we shouldn't be so divided. We should be trying to help each other instead of trying to bring people down. Why would I want to vote for somebody that's attacking the person in charge when stuff beyond our control is happening? You know what I mean? It makes me not want to vote for that person. Like, if there was someone better than Trump, I would vote for that person, But when you're attacking during this whole time of when people's family members are dying, that makes me like stay where I'm at,
Yeah, if anything, should bring the different wings together into the heart of the bird. Should be a crisis like this where we're all affected.
Yeah.
Well, there's somebody. We finally got our first case of COVID-19 in my county where I live.
Oh.
And everybody wants to know who she is. Everybody's like calling.
No, you can't. With the mass hysteria, you got to keep that privacy.
Listen. Let me finish. They're like, oh, she's a piece of shit because she got it. She went on a cruise. They should put her somewhere and make sure none of the rest of us get sick. And I mean, you can ask Hope. Hope's standing right here. How was the mass hysteria about the first COVID person here in town? Then people called her all kinds of names and treated her like shit, didn't they?
They threatened her.
Threatened her. I mean, it is just unreal. Listen, people, I'm here to tell you, and you people watching, however many it is, we all have it probably. Every one of us. We are carriers. We just are not getting sick because we're, what is it called, asymptomatic? Is that what they call it, asymptomatic?
Asymptomatic, or have them.
We all probably have it. It's kind of like on The Walking Dead. Everybody has it. You're gonna when you die, you're gonna turn into a walker. Okay, Ocho, sorry.
So I remember getting really sick the end of last year, and where I had problem with a high fever, felt like a really bad, the worst flu I've ever gotten, almost like pneumonia, and my whole family was sick, and there was a lot of people I knew that were sick the end of the year. I'm thinking that that we all kind of got kind of had it even before it was
True.
I,
before
I,
it was a
I had that
mainstream
nasty
thing.
flu last year too. I know exactly what you're talking about.
Believe that.
And you do
I
have
believe
that
it.
dry cough, which is what they talk about. If you know.
Yeah.
I think Hope had it. I think Hope had COVID-19 back or last year.
But I mean, a lot of things have the same symptoms.
Oh,
So it could have been
take
H1N1, could have been anything.
Yeah.
It's the problem
I
when
guess
it turns
allergy
into
season.
ALS, where that form of pneumonia is where that's what's killing people, and it's so aggressive and so hard to fight off. It really is a flu, but it's a flu that's immune to what we can fight off. So it's a lot more dangerous and more easily transmitted.
So me and my family
It's
have really
nasty.
bad allergies. We have really bad allergies, and we're afraid to go outside and cough
Oh yeah, and everybody
or
look at
have
you
a
like,
runny
oh,
nose or
they're
something
infected.
because people now are like, it's witch trials, you know?
Yeah, it is.
Yeah, mass hysteria can get crazy, and that's a problem. People really need to stay calm. Try to make the best
I
of
have
it.
my mask when I go outside because went to a burger thing, so I put this on. Because we'll get fined. We'll get fined if you don't have a cover on, $1,000.
Yeah, they're doing that now in Tucson, where they're saying if you go out now, it's gonna be law that you have to be covered.
They're like, they
Yeah,
don't care what
I got.
you got to be covered.
I'm a little apprehensive about martial law, and it'd be nice if people could pull their heads out of their ass enough to cooperate without fines and being forced to. I don't know. I just don't
understand.
trust the
Stay
government
home.
to give more power.
Yeah, I don't understand. I see these pictures of people on beaches and people still getting together in big groups, and it's like you guys are the reason why we're having to stay even longer. You know,
Yeah.
if you guys would just listen and stay home, spend family time together, do something with the family.
Right.
You know, instead of putting everyone at risk and making this thing last longer than what it should.
Kiki, you're up.
My thoughts on that is because we live in a very narcissistic world.
Right.
Social, and when I say this, I know Jonathan gets mad. Social media to youngsters has tainted their way of thinking because a lot of them are youngsters, and so it's like they have never seen any true struggle. The suicide rate is on an all-time high because of the music that they listen to, and it's the parents that are with their children, and I'm not saying all, but the majority that feel that they're still young at heart because they were probably a teenage parent. And it just is this society of I'm just going to think for myself. It's never going to happen to me. And it sucks. It just freaking sucks. Yeah, Mike.
I had my hand up before you, Mike, but
Oh, I'm sorry.
Oh, you did. I'm sorry. Go ahead, Ryan.
I don't know. I mean, nobody has all the answers, but if people would just get an idea of infection control, people could conduct business without cross-contaminating.
Right.
Taking 24-hour Walmarts and grocery stores and having them opened up for 8 hours and forcing people into showing up somewhere at the same time, that seems like a risk from hell. Keeping produce out that people can sneeze and cough on, that seems like a risk. I mean, I've for 25 years, I've been involved in the tattoo piercing industry and know about cross-contamination and shit. When you know what you're looking at, you see a lot of holes in this game, and it's just sad that people can't get educated enough to actually be able to work one-on-one. There are ways that hairdressers would be able to work on people if they knew what they had to do to protect themselves, as well as other businesses. And it's going to get to that point if they can't solve it. I see you're trying to say something, Mike. So
Okay, so my thing is this, and this is what Kiki was talking about. Until somebody dies that's famous, that these kids know and they appreciate and they understand, kids are not going to do anything until they see it, because everybody that's died that's famous or
They're
one of
around
their
our
parents
age and we grew up
grandparents.
with
Hold on, let me finish. So, John Prine died yesterday, one of the
Mhm.
greatest prolific folk artists of all time. Well, that hits home to people that are our age group. The kid don't understand that. Now, if somebody like Pink would have died because she had COVID-19 and her family did, then maybe a kid would say, "Oh my God, Pink died," or if Little Wayne died, or JoJo died, or whoever the hell it is that kids listen to this now, okay, or watch on TV. Kids only have this mindset like this. They don't look this way or that way half the time because they grew up in that society, like you said, the music they listen to, the stuff they watch, that's how they are. So until that happens, these kids are not going to, these what do they call the new ones? Not millennials. What are they called?
Generation Z.
Generation Z. Yeah, they're not going to start paying attention. Go ahead, Michael.
It's because we grew up in the U.S. and we think we're invincible. We think
Yeah.
nothing can harm us. We think that you know what I mean. We are the powerhouse of the world, and we've lived like that for decades already. And so now that this is happening, it's like we thought we were invincible for so many decades that you know I'm 42 years old and I've never seen anything like this, and it's becoming the new norm. And I don't even see how our economy can bounce back after all this if it goes any longer. So it's because we were spoiled for so long that
Yeah.
we just don't we don't know how to, especially the younger ones.
Hold on. Jonathan came in. Jonathan.
Hey, Jonathan.
This is Michael Ocho. Michael is an actor from Arizona, and he's put out a new movie called John Light. Michael, I told you who Jonathan was, so we don't have to get into all that. So, Jonathan, right now, we're talking about...
Can you hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you.
And
Jonathan, we were talking
Because
about...
everyone just...
hi, Kiki.
Hi, babe.
We were talking about younger generation not paying attention to the rules and things like that, Jonathan. That's what we were talking about. If you'd like to say something, then go ahead, buddy.
Well, I would say that I agree with what he just said entirely. I mean, this is profoundly poignant and disturbing.
Yeah, how are you holding up, man? You're close to the real epicenter, man. You know, you look like you're having a rough time.
I've been locked in my room for 3 weeks, literally, because I don't want to give it to anybody and I don't want to get it. And so I mean, I took the social distancing thing to its extreme even before they talked about it. But I was like, you know what? I'm just gonna, and thankfully my brother was kind enough to buy food for me, and he would leave it on his back porch, and so I could, go pick up food at his house and then bring it back here so there's stuff I could cook. But then of course my roommate, which really screws up the whole thing, ate some of my food. That's weird. But
fucking roommates.
No, but I mean, but also just the infectious quality of it, right? I was like, dude, what the fuck are you doing? Because I made all this delicious pesto that was going to last me for like 4 days, and then the dude just ate right out of the pot, and I'm like, what the fuck? And you can't accuse somebody of that, That's one of those things that's like, prove it.
Yeah, nothing like having roommates to fight with when you're stuck inside with them 24 hours a day.
I know, but it was just bizarre. It was so obvious, that there was like half of what I left in the pot, and I'm like, what the hell is going on?
I remember in college having roommates, and I will be the first to admit that I too have been stolen from and have stolen from the roommates' food supplies.
Yeah, but I mean, just to eat out of the pot is like really great,
Yeah, that's.
And,
don't be coughing, Ryan. We'll think you got the coronavirus.
You see me cough. You see why I'm coughing.
Everybody coughs. Everybody sneezes. Okay, my therapist sneezed today. It's just that's
Well, I was saying I have really bad allergies.
Sneezes, everybody touches their face. It happens. Okay.
Oh yeah, it's hard not to when you're out in public. God. And watching people doing shit like touching their face and touching things, and I mean, you get very judgmental. I think we've all turned into church ladies a little bit when we're out getting groceries and stuff, watching people be stupid.
Oh my God! Wait!
He just touched the wall and touched his face.
Wait! Ryan Almighty said church lady. Y'all mark that down in the book. Ryan Almighty said church lady.
I want to get corona.
I'm showing my age with the church lady, but I love the church lady. She was a very profound,
all of our ages. Come on, for God's sakes.
Right.
The church lady.
So
she was yesterday's Carol fucking Baskins.
I love that.
I went there.
I love it.
You knew it was coming.
Totally went there.
That is a
I'm
crazy
so proud of you
freaking
for going
show.
there.
Oh my God, Carol
Was
fucking
that
Bassett.
Baskins,
the
man.
first Tiger King reference of the evening?
Oh
That
my
was the first Tiger King reference.
I have been
Have you
responding.
watched Ocho?
Look, I've been responding to everybody in Facebook comments with Tiger King. I literally, like, I think I've been tagging Mike in Facebook with Tiger King references. It's the most funniest freaking shit I've ever seen.
Tiger King is what will bring us together and came out at the perfect time.
Have you
Tiger
watched
Tiger
it,
King
Ocho?
is
Have
the
you
new
watched
crack.
Tiger King?
I know what it's about, but
You
I
gotta watch
just
it. It's the new crack.
Oh, sit down with the kids and watch it. Ocho.
Man,
It's
you
hilarious.
gotta
I heard
watch
something about her feeding her ex-husband to the tiger or something.
That's Carol
Yes,
fucking
man.
Baskins.
No, the thing, here's what's crazy about it, and I'll tell you straight up. Here's the deal: is that Tiger King is worse than Donald Trump.
Hey,
It is-
you know,
it's
no,
just-
he didn't-
I was YouTubing them motherfuckers and
Straight
watching
up, it's
shit.
just
Oh
because
my God.
everybody. I mean, people I know who are like, you know,
Hey to all you cool cats. and
intellectual historians,
hey, cool cat and kid.
you know, heads of departments at universities and stuff
Oh my
are
God.
totally into the Tiger King, as well as people I know who live on the street. And
like everybody is talking
it
about
crosses
Tiger
every
King.
genre, and it's insane because the guy who is sort of the star of it
Joe Exotic.
is in prison
No.
now, and is going to spend the rest of his life there. But
Hey,
he
Jonathan, do you think Donald Trump is like
ass.
Tiger King?
I saw a tiger.
Oh my God. His music videos though. Oh my God. That is
Oh
Look,
my
look,
God.
let me ask you. Since
Oh
you all
my
seen
God.
it, since you all seen it, sit for Michael. When he was sitting there, when his campaign manager was sitting there, and you saw the video, and
Oh, when
you
Travis
hear
shot himself?
and
no,
see
you hear the
pain.
gunshot. Were you like just amazed? You were like, "Holy shit!"
I'm like,
the
is
dude
this
really
real
did that.
life? Because I kept saying, like, okay, so they keep showing this 19-year-old boy, but it fools you because they talk to him in such a way like they're interviewing him. And I'm like, that's not a complete interview. And he talks about him and he references him. And then it leads on and stuff, and it just unfolds in front of you. And the guy is like sitting there like this, typing, "Hey, buddy," and then go.
Yeah, you're like, what did
How
happen?
about
I was like, "What the
All right,
hell?"
we have wait, guys,
how about the
guys,
funeral
hold on,
scene
hold on,
when
hold
Joe
on,
Exotic
hold on.
is talking about, and he put his
Whoa,
balls
whoa,
on
whoa,
everybody.
whoa.
Everybody
Hold on.
loved his balls.
Wait, we have
Yeah.
a member who hasn't seen it, so this is not
No,
very
we're
fair.
very
Because
spoiled.
Oh,
y'all
sorry.
ruined it.
Ocho,
Look,
you know enough
y'all
about
ruined
it.
it for me last week, and y'all were so excited. So hopefully
I
the
know, but
excitement
it's
makes
not.
him watch
It's not fair. No, there's
I'm
an
watching
entire
it tonight.
podcast. There's an
Watch
entire
it.
You will,
podcast.
and you'll binge watch it. It's that good.
I'm gonna watch it tonight. So
Yeah,
I'll thank
no,
you guys
and
when I
it's
spend the whole
so-
night watching it.
It's so you'll feel embarrassed the whole time you're watching it.
Yeah, because
You'll feel like
There's
feel
no
like,
shame in
why
my
did
game. I was loving
why
every
did
second of that drama.
No, you're gonna say, why did I subject myself to this?
You know,
This
it
is
can't,
so
it can't be
awful.
worse
I'm
than
10
it
minutes
can't be
in,
worse than the
wow.
Kardashians.
Man,
Close.
Oh yeah, nice.
you
I've never
This is
seen the
more like
Kardashians,
watching
but
stuff
it's
like.
close.
Have you ever seen like the Jessica White videos and things like that?
Yeah.
Just so off the wall.
No, it was like
So,
remember when we used to watch like what was it? The fake
Simple
snuff
Life.
films.
Oh,
the fake
yeah, I know
snuff
what you.
films. What were they called? Back in the 90s. Remember?
listen.
Yeah.
Go, you feel bad for the guy
Because they weren't
After
real,
killing-
and those were fake snuff films where they showed like electrocutions and
Oh yeah. Oh,
are you
Faces of
talking
Death.
about Faces of Death?
Faces of Death.
Yeah, I love me some Faces of Death. Volume.
I got thrown off eBay for selling a used DVD of that, and it was all fake
that was-
anyway.
Yeah, but they were all fake.
that
whereas-
satanic one was like, I watched
but they
that
were all
high and
fake.
it changed my
Um,
life.
But
Hey.
they were elaborate.
monkey
They,
getting hit
they,
in the
you know what those Faces of Death videos remind me of? They remind me of people who do great forgeries of tremendous really important paintings. You know,
I don't know. There's
that or the mainstream media. They're an awful lot like the mainstream media. An awful
don't
lot of
do that,
sensationalism,
please.
and it's all fake.
Please, what are you going to do that again? Really? Really?
He just did it.
Only because it's true. Hey, if you get to badmouth Trump, I get to
Fox
badmouth
News
the
is
media.
real? Wait, because Fox News is real?
Hey, I got something to say.
No,
Wait a minute.
that's the flip side of it. It's two sides of the same coin.
Because AON is real? I mean, where do you go to get to your news? I mean, there have to be some real reporters out there.
You have to listen to both. If you're a staunch conservative, you should be watching liberal news at least 50% of the times. And if you're a staunch, if you're a hardcore liberal, you should be watching Fox News half the time.
Yeah,
because the
also,
truth is somewhere in between there. They all will lie to you.
There's real clear politics. There's
I listen
a
to
lot of different websites that have people on either side of the political spectrum. I mean, at this point, they all know that Donald Trump is a joke.
I listen to old grandpa radio.
They know that Alex Jones. They know that Alex Jones is a bizarre conspiracy theory.
You all just need a little Tim Pool in your life.
That's right.
No, I want to say, but I get what you're saying, but there is not an equanimity. There is not an equanimity.
Yeah. I bet Carol fucking Baskins voted for Trump.
I swear to God, that's going to be what I say on my deathbed.
Carol fucking I'm watching it now.
I don't know what the hell you're talking about.
Yeah, but I'm telling. Is it Mike, the new guy?
Yeah. Or Ocho.
Ocho's because we got two mics, so it's going to get confusing.
Just call
Ocho.
Or Ocho. That's fine. He's got an 8 right on his cheek, so I can go with that. And in fact, my acting student today, Ramon, said to me, I said, "What time is our acting class?" And he said, "Ocho." And I said, "Is that French?" And he said, "Espanol."
Dang, Carol.
I said, "Do you mean Dutch?" And Ramon said, "It's Dutch, French, Spanish." Now I get what you're going at.
There you go.
I wish I could pass this vape to you so that could be more funny.
Well, I wanted to bring Ramon on one of these conversations, but I don't want to charge him for it, so it's weird. But as I'm teaching him these acting classes, I really do want to bring him in on one of these conversations because I love that you get in my face, and I told him about that, and he loves it.
You know I'm from the East Coast. I reside in Cali. Don't get that twisted. My address might be California, but I'm
bi-coastal too.
I lived in California for the last 5 years before
Brooklyn, baby. That's why I'm all up in your grill. And you know you can take it because it's that East Coast love. It's not that superficial meanness from Cali. Girls be getting catty and stuff.
They don't even know how to be mean. They got no idea.
They don't. It comes from straight
I'm
love.
originally from Cali, so.
That's why you're so kind. Look at your face. Your face is like, I'm from Cali. I'm nice. It's the
is it
nice
lonely?
now.
Is it lonely being a Republican in Cali? You must be Southern California, though.
There's plenty of Republicans in Cali.
Hey,
I'm San Bernardino, California. Yeah, Southern.
Yeah. And one of my best friends is Andrew Divoff. And I did a concert for him to benefit the victims of the mass shooting. Yeah. And I don't know if you guys know who Andy is, but he was the Wishmaster.
Oh.
And,
of course, we know who the Wishmaster is.
Well, so he asked me to do a concert up in San Bernardino for the victims of the families that died in the mass shooting. And, it's funny. We're not even talking about that stuff anymore, are we?
Oh, yeah.
No.
It's amazing the stuff that doesn't permeate
social media. Because we're going to have 100,000 people die in the next week.
We have that, and then we have people unemployed.
YouTube and been getting a lot of pings for stuff that's not being transcended on YouTube right now because a lot of people aren't whatever I see on Facebook, I tell them that it is not my footage. This is just something that I hope gives you some clarity. This is what I found, because I don't want people thinking I'm doing fear mongering, because on YouTube right now, there's a lot of people doing fear mongering, showing stuff that makes them at ease, showing them negative stuff. I usually just show them like how to wash your hands. I have that in Spanish. I have it in English. I have it in German. So it's at least, you know, people are watching that, because everyone is showing so much other stuff in Facebook. Facebook people are still complaining about shit.
I say happy birthday to Oprah, because I learned that from Stephen Colbert. But so I say happy birthday to Oprah twice, which is cool. But I agree with you.
Mm-hmm.
I posted something on Facebook yesterday where I said, please look at legitimate news sources. I said, you can take it with a grain of salt. I get it. You know, and you may think they have an agenda, but you can't look at conspiracy theories. You know, you can't. I mean, Bill Gates is doing a town hall tonight where he's telling people about what to do, whereas half of the country thinks that he created this. He did not. That's not true. It just isn't. It's ridiculous. And it's not like these super rich guys sit around and go, I'm going to infect the whole world. You know, I mean, they just don't. It's so stupid.
But that's how some people were raised because of the Great Depression. When people
and then you know what we're going to get again when they finally have a vaccine for this? We're going to have people who don't take it because they think it's a government-controlled thing.
And that's what I was going to tell you. Just like the Great Depression.
That's going to be the next big fight. That's going to be the next big fight, is people saying they're not going to take it because of all the hype that it's the government doing this to us.
And notice how little we've heard about people's preferred pronouns in the past 3 weeks.
But like I was
terrifying. I mean, that scares the shit out of me.
Look, because so like I was saying,
this thing. I mean, at least 90% of America has understood what social distancing is, right?
Right.
And that has slowed the disease to where maybe we'll have less than 100,000 deaths versus 500,000. Okay. That's the simple math, right? Do we all understand that?
Yeah.
Everybody okay with that?
Mm-hmm.
That's amazing, right? That's community immunity.
But
what I gotta say, let me say something, please. What I gotta say is what we were talking about earlier before you come in, Jonathan. We all just need to get along. It doesn't matter for Democrats. Let me finish.
I agree.
Let me finish. If we're Democrats, if we're Republicans, we're gay, straight, bisexual, if we're white, black, Puerto Rican, Mexican, Asian, white, Jew, it doesn't matter. We all got to get fucking along. If we can't get along, we're never going to go back to any normalcy. Right. It's like it's like I was telling them earlier. There's a woman that got COVID here in my hometown. Finally, we got one, okay? I'm not saying finally isn't a good thing, but we got one. She has been called everything in the book. People try to find out who she is where they can go harass her. And the thing about it is, this woman didn't get COVID-19 to get it. She went on a cruise. This is not her fault that she got it. People need to grow the fuck up and learn that these people do not get it because they want to get it. Now, there's some people that have got it because they want to be ghetto fabulous and they want to be famous because, quote unquote, they got COVID-19. You think Tom Prine wanted to die yesterday? Do you think Sally from California?
One of my heroes, by the way.
Huh?
Sean Prine is one of my heroes.
I mean, it's crazy. People need to learn that nobody's responsible for this. There's nobody responsible for this. It's happened. It's like, it just, it scares me every day. I mean,
but Mike, I agree with you. We're all doing the right thing, though.
Right, we can only do what we can do. It's hard not to be paranoid, though.
Yeah.
I mean, no, but the 5 of us are doing the right thing, which is to be in isolation. And And I didn't even understand that for weeks. I was doing it before I even understood it. I was like, does this really mean anything? And blah, blah. And then I, heard Anthony Fauci say, listen, it doesn't really matter whether you get it. It matters of how we slow this down. And
I think we are. I think these next couple of weeks is where we're going to see the worst.
Yeah,
we're going to see the worst.
Though, to wrap my
because
head
there are
around
real
that.
precautions being taken. There are idiots.
Well,
There's also idiots that won't watch Forrest Gump now because Tom Hanks has it. There are people that are going to believe all kinds of stupid shit, like Mike was telling us about.
Okay,
the fact of the matter is, it's
I'll
going to
tell
run
you
its course,
else,
and we're just waiting for that to climb.
Look up what Iceland did. Just look up what Iceland did.
What did they do? Just briefly, what did they do?
Well, initially, they had a complete shutdown of their economy, everything. And a enforced lockdown of people in, their own homes. And then they absolutely disrupted the disease, but they also had more tests per capita than any place.
I want to ask you something. Have you all seen this?
It's you got to look up the Iceland thing because it's so staggering. Because why couldn't America have done this?
Because we're bigger than Iceland.
It goes back to what I was saying, where we felt invincible for so many decades. We felt we're the powerhouse.
We don't choose.
We expect this in Mexico. We expect this in third world countries. But we never thought that the great United States could be experiencing this.
I agree with you, and I want to just say one thing very quickly, and I'll let you finish your point. But here's the deal: America doesn't believe healthcare is a right; they believe it's a privilege, and that's nuts.
Yeah. You all see this?
Yeah, that's one thing I think we can all agree on. The healthcare system is beyond fucked, and if anything, maybe some of the silver lining is the country will get a grasp on a few ways to improve on that, because it's very important.
Well, there's not a few ways. There's a very simple way, which is that everybody gets health care.
So it probably will force them to do universal.
Yes.
Have you all seen this?
I think that is the silver lining, but I don't know that that's going to happen with Joe Biden. It would have happened with Bernie Sanders. I don't know that it's going to happen with Joe Biden. And that's frustrating to me.
Yeah. He's just not a good choice.
No, we have a terrible choice. We have a choice between a guy who is a huckster and a liar and ridiculous, and another guy who is probably suffering from dementia.
I voted for Mickey Mouse. I literally wrote in
Mickey Mouse is suffering from dementia as well. Think about
that's not very nice, Jonathan.
One of the choices in my
Mickey Mouse has COVID-27.
I literally had my singing bowl. I like prayed, and I just felt so anxious, and I did not have like a real rational thought of who to pick, and I felt.
What do you think about COVID-19?
I felt that I was going to be just hurting my true beliefs because I picked someone that I knew I didn't like, that it didn't line up with my beliefs. And I literally put Mickey Mouse because Mickey Mouse makes me feel happy. And that's the God honest truth.
I'm so glad I got your vote.
Well, I think I'm going to vote for Carol fucking Baskins and watch it all.
I'm going to vote for the Tiger King, even though he's in jail.
Would it be 2020 again? Because it's just like time just freaking stopped. Like magic is real.
Wait,
magic is real.
Out loud?
Time to stop, man. People
Bernie
put
said something
that they can create something that is so profoundly wicked, and that just hate, and everyone knows that they've seen it, because everybody was like hating freaking January. You got to February, you thought that people would be in love and just want to pretend about who they wanted to take out. Nope, people stay hating. And that's why you have to be spiritually sound, any form of spirituality, whether it's Buddhism, whether it's tattooing or art, or just talking to people on a podcast that brings positive energy together, whether it's being a Jew, whether it's being Muslim, whether it's being a Buddhist. It doesn't matter. Right now, it's just all of us getting together, like-minded people, just literally sending like a positive reinforcement, because all of us are very opinionated, and I know that. But Jonathan, we can't talk about politics right now, because the thing is that politics is going to be the same thing right now. If we speculate on how we are going to derive and have change, we have to talk about now as a change. How are we going to utilize this podcast to transcend people to change? Because
I think the first thing is people need to look, like Michael Jackson said, look at the man in the mirror.
Yes.
If you can't look at the man in the mirror, then you're not going to change anything, because all of us have different walks of life.
Try not to take too much advice from Michael Jackson, but
listen, Michael Ocho up here, this man, if you watch their interview that me and him did, he'll tell you the whole story. But this man's been through hell and back, and wasn't a nice guy at one time, but now he is, and he's got a wonderful family and things. You got Ryan up here. Whoever thought you'd see a guy with horns in his head, but you got Ryan up here.
Everybody loves a horny guy.
You got Ryan up here that Michael's different than Ryan. You got Jonathan. Jonathan's different than Michael, and I'm different than all of you. And then you got Kiki over here. We're all different than her,
right?
Because she's the only female that we talk to hardly. So she's like the queen bee of this shit, So it's like
this podcast wouldn't matter at all if we didn't have a female.
Yeah, because we'd be like.
True.
You have to have that balance. You really do. And you have to have a certain female to do it, because some females don't respect their strength and their body as a temple. I have been doing a study. Oops, kitty, bye-bye. I have been doing a study with the human behavior during traumatic events. And I put my Facebook public, like literally public, because I know that people can't travel. And I don't think that they would take the risk, because they would be spotted out if they came to my home and stuff. But I opened it up. The first week of the COVID-19 epidemic in certain countries, there were more PP pics in my DMs, and they were strange people. And I don't know if it's because of the trauma and they're just scared, and they think that if they're not surrounded by a female or whatever, if this is the only way that they can get sexual reaction. And so I'm just like, this is something that is just like really, really crazy how it affects everybody, how it affects every single person. And I feel that everybody has lost their way with their ancestral right of how they use the Lord in their name. A lot of people have been so transfixed on organized religion that they are unable to fathom the things that are going on, because they're not really spiritually intact. Now, you can be spiritually intact and be a person of science. You don't have to necessarily say, well, I have to be like Kiki. No, that's not what I'm saying. I'm saying that you have to have freedom of thoughts to see what is going on in front of you. And so a lot of people have become programmed through things from cell phones to technology, because no one gave anyone the guidelines to how to live with that. So now you have all of this information in front of you, and no one gave you the rules to it. And then people carbon copy everyone in their family. Go on.
I like to hear Michael Ocho talk about this, because I know he's a real spiritual guy. And that's what's got him through in his life. So I'd like to hear him have his say on this a little bit. What do you think?
Yeah, so I'm a spiritual guy. I am a Christian. I do believe there is a higher being. Um, only because I was the most evil person before. I was someone who you guys wouldn't have wanted to meet
Hmm.
back in the day. I was able through what it's like I said, my belief through God, that I was able to change my whole being, because now I'm actually someone that enjoys helping people. I go into prisons. I talk to at-risk youth. I tell them of the dangers of the kind of life they're gonna come across, keeping in that same path. Um, and I've turned my whole life around where I'm actually an actor, a minister. Um, but I don't believe in. I'm the type of person. I'm the type of Christian that I'm going to love you no matter what. You know,
Right.
I'm not one of those people that are going to judge you because you're a different religion than me, a different color than me, a different. You know what I mean? You have different ways of thinking because we're all individuals. We're all individuals, and the thing is, with this whole thing, I know you were saying, Kiki, that spirit, that because maybe we fall back on organized religion too much,
Right.
um, that that could be one of the issues. But like I said before, it's all about us getting together as people. You
Right.
know, right now, my main concern is there's people out there with no jobs, and those bills keep coming in. You know, those bills aren't going to stop. I am an actor, and I've been seriously affected by this whole thing. I had projects lined up all year, all over the country, and now um, I'm basically out of work.
Yeah,
You
I'm
know what I
familiar
mean?
with that.
Yeah, I'm basically out of work. All my projects have been pushed back till beginning of next year, maybe the end of the year if things happen. But I still got car payment. I got my house payment. I got electricity, water. That all still keeps coming. You know what I mean? And that's why I'm like, you know, we just gotta all band together as human beings. Not, oh, you're this religion or this religion, that's why I'm not gonna help you. As human beings, whether you be black, white, Mexican, whatever, just come together and help people. You see the elderly suffering right now. Help the elderly. Do something. Earn your right to be on this planet. That's the way I feel.
Yeah.
Um,
What would
I'm
you like?
not one of them. I'm not one of them holy rollers that's going to be preaching to everybody and saying this is the way you should live. Just be a human being, you
Right.
know?
Ryan, it's your turn, buddy. What do you want to say?
Yeah, I mean, I just wanted to tap on what Ocho was saying that I 100% agree with. It takes a lot. It shows a lot more character to have the ability to get along with somebody with a different political view than you, a different religion than you, um, than to only say that you love people, but keep yourself surrounded with only like-minded individuals. You really people need to get along with other people. That's imperative, and that's something that something like this kind of tragedy can actually bring together. I mean,
Right.
it's one of the reasons I am not a fan of identity politics. I personally think it drives people apart more than it brings them together. It just brings people into a tribal mentality where different groups look to hate other groups.
Right.
People
Let me
need to learn
wait a
to get
minute.
along and actually work together, especially in times of crisis.
Since we're on Ryan, I've got to ask him a question, okay? Since we're talking about hate and things like that people do to people, like Ocho was talking about, Ryan, when you first said that you were going to do the portraits with Charles Manson's ashes, and then did you get very much hate mail about that? Did you get people saying,
I
"Hey,
got death threats over it.
Death
You know,
threats.
from Manson followers. The people that actually are obsessed with Manson, they're all fragmented out. Speaking of tribal mentality, these Manson people are crazy and don't get along amongst themselves. And part of it was jealousy that I probably finagled my way into getting my hands on some of Charlie's ashes. Some of it's because they look at him as some kind of deity and they thought it was super disrespectful to make paintings with it. People had their own reasons, but yeah, it brought out the crazy. And I got death threats, a lot of hate.
but did you care?"
No, no. In fact, I go with it. I see the humor in tribal mentality and when people lose their shit like that. It. I knew I was taking a risk, but it was for pieces of artwork that are gonna be around when I'm gone. I mean, like them or love them or whatever, you know, there are people that, you know, think Charles Manson was the boogeyman. There's people that think he was a prophet. He means a lot of things to a lot of different people. But something
I met
you can't deny is the fact that he's iconic. So the fact that there's ashes in these paintings, his remains, means they're gonna, and high-end collections ended up with some of these portraits, that they're gonna transcend it. When we're all gone, everybody that knew the man, I used to actually know Charles. 20 years ago, he and I used to talk on the phone. When we're long gone, it's a relic. There's people that are going to recognize that and realize they're looking at something that is a piece of that infamous person or that legend or that prophet, however they look at him.
Yeah,
So
really
I mean, the ends justifies the means. I'll take the death threats. I'll take those people coming at me, but I created something that's going to outlast me.
It really doesn't matter how they portray it, right?
right.
No, you got to be true to yourself.
Can I just add to that real quick?
Yeah.
I met him where I used to work, and being a spiritualist, it was like weird. That energy was like strange. It was very heavy. It was very dark. It was just, you know, even when you looked at him, he just looked like this little old man, but he still had that spirit of the person that did what he did. But the old man didn't have that same spirit, and it felt as if he was like walking behind him with his hair all short, just like, you know, this is me, and I'm protecting him. So it was just like weird, just that energy that he had, and the influence of his energy that had happened in that hospital. There was one guy that had came up on the fourth floor with a gun because he wanted his lady to get out of the hospital. Then we had they had to transfer him to another floor, and then he was on the sixth floor, and a person tried to commit suicide on the helicopter pad. A lot of strange things, to where they had to open up the old wing down on the first floor because they just felt it was just weird. Now you can say that it's kooky and all that stuff, but his energy was just profoundly in that room. And when you get Lucifer's talent of I'm gonna let you, Mike, just hold on. When you get Lucifer's talent of manipulation, it doesn't mean that Lucifer was the one that taught you. It's just you have his spirit, because he is the first person in history, correct me if I'm wrong, he didn't do any of the crimes. He did it because of manipulation. So that was the power of Lucifer.
That's what I was going to say. Hold on, Ryan. I'll let you talk because you know a lot about him. But Charles Manson never ever killed any of those people.
No, he didn't.
He had to do it. But let's put it in a different perspective, okay? Since we're talking about that, you have the will to do whatever you want to do in life.
Right.
If you have somebody,
that's a discussion for another day. Oh my gosh.
Yeah, we discussed it.
Honestly.
But briefly, it basically, when I worked in the prison system and I looked into a lot of inmates' eyes, when I look into their eyes, I would always see a transference of energy that was not of them. And when you tell this to a person that is not spiritually sound and does not, they you know, it's just, I can talk to an inmate and give them their respect, but then there were the ones that were lost. And when I
hear Ocho, because I think he has a personal connection.
So, well, Mike knows. Mike knows. I did prison time.
Okay.
I did prison time, and like I said, I've done a lot of horrible things. I've been a drug dealer. I've been a drug addict, a heroin addict for many years, and I was an enforcer that would collect money. So I would collect money any way that I had to. Now, to say that you can look in someone's eyes and say there's no hope or they're never going to change, because I've done a whole 360, and I'm not that person I used to be. And I want my legacy to be a different legacy. I don't want it to be that way. So there are people out there that you may think have no hope, or that you think are pure evil, but there is redemption. There is second chances, and I'm one of those people that have changed. and intend to stay changed, not just for myself, but to be an example for my kids and for others that have come in my same circumstances. So
What did you want to say, Ryan? I didn't want to cut off Ryan off. He wanted to say
Oh,
something.
with Charles Manson though, I mean, you're going to get that vibe being around him because there's an awful lot of lore that goes with him. I mean, you can thank the bloodsucker extraordinaire, or should I say lawyer, same thing, Vincent Bugliosi for that. You know, the Helter Skelter book turned him into a boogeyman.
Ryan, can I interject while you're talking? Because
I would rather finish what I'm saying before you do.
I was going to bring up Vincent Bugliosi as well, who is a self-aggrandizing bastard.
Yeah, he's a lawyer. I mean, you want to see true evil, look into some lawyers' eyes, not
he's
people
a self-aggrandizing. He's a self-aggrandizing bastard. There's no question about that. But
okay, go ahead.
The only reason I bring that up to you because you and I connect on a certain level. Okay, what I'm saying is that, it was profound to me that Manson was just a media hound. He loved it.
Oh yeah, he was a narcissist. He did put on a show when he was being interviewed. There's no doubt about that. I can tell you firsthand. He admitted that to people that knew him.
So for him, I mean, it's not like I'm not glad that he went to prison, but
he was a criminal. He was a criminal. He definitely deserved
he was
to be
a
punished.
Consummate manipulator.
Not railroading.
Was he not a consummate manipulator? That's what he was.
Yes and no. He got more vulnerable as he got older. What I was going to go back to is when we're discussing the thing. I mean, really, you want to look at the true evil behind some of the stuff that happened. Manson wasn't a puppeteer pulling the strings as much as people think. You can look at people like Bruce Davis and
that's what I'm saying.
And Tex Watson.
That's exactly what I'm saying.
I mean, if Manson had control over them,
one
of those girls, one of the three girls, he only knew for 2 weeks. Manson only knew for 2 weeks. He was fucking Tex. Well, they were all fucking each other, but they had a hidden stash of amphetamines. They had a hidden stash of meth. Manson forbade there to be meth on the ranch. So people were doing their own thing. It was all fractioned out. He wasn't this, he wasn't in as much control as people I think that he was.
That's all I'm saying.
Yeah, don't get me wrong. He was a criminal and he deserved to be punished. And especially the second set of murders, he was directly involved in. He didn't kill anybody, but he was at that house and he knew the potential of them being murdered. He was accessory to murder. He deserved to do time for that. Is he this magical wizard? No, I don't buy that. I think he was a mentally ill man that was institutionalized and knew how to manipulate people to a degree from being in prison, and he did exploit it in the end. And
who is the serial killer who was like 6'10"?
That would be Edmund Kemper.
Yeah, who hated Manson. They were in the same facility, if I remember.
They were in Vacaville, I believe, at one time.
And he was just like, Charlie's a fraud.
It was kind of like Joe Exotic and Carol fucking Baskin. They were
exactly. No, I'm not joking. But
I'm not either. Yeah,
isn't that funny?
I wanted to say something to Mike Ocho. I want to say I never want you to think that I didn't think that there was any change or redemption. I'm talking about the ones that I literally would do readings and I can see that they weren't going to change. I don't want you to ever think that I was going out there like, Buffy the Vampire Slayer saying, I deemed you not done. No, I don't want you to.
You are deplorable.
I'm saying that I would literally.
That would have been cool.
I would literally. Hold on. I would literally see things that were attached to these people that were demons. And you know what?
You don't have to worry. Yeah. You don't have to worry.
About.
Yeah, you don't have to worry.
I don't think Ocho is looking for any apologies.
No, but because I don't want this to go live and people don't. I just want to break it down that I'm a spiritual person.
There are some really
of what happened. Of one story.
Ocho.
I'm in the prison. I'm in the prison and I was doing suicide watch. Where's my pen?
Spirits guy.
Hold on. It gives me anxiety when I talk about it. Hold on.
She got a puff.
More pot. First pot.
First the pot.
So there was a guy. He was about, I want to say, 23 years old. And so he's sitting there like this at the cell, and he was in D-Yard, and he's like on suicide watch. And so I'm in there. We're not in the infirmary. I'm in the pod. Excuse me. And so he's like, hey, I'm going to make you my B. I'm going to make you my B and blah, blah, blah. That's what they do for me. I'm going to make you do the walk of shame. And so I'm sitting there and I'm just staring at him and I'm just saying the Our Father, we art in heaven prayer. And I just start saying it, right? And then I had my little spray. I would spray my stuff with me, my rose water. And I look at him and I felt as if someone put their hands over me like this, and I couldn't hear anything because they didn't want me to hear him. And they turned my head and I look to my right and I see a girl in a red hoodie. She's in a red hoodie dripping with water. And then she looks at him and she goes like this and she says, he's in here for a crime that he did, but it's not for me. And then I looked at her. She says, tell him right now. He'll be quiet. So then I look back at him. She's like, hey, what the hell? What's wrong with you? You going to sleep on me? You ain't listening? Richardson. And I looked and I said, what do you ever do to that little girl? And then he looked at me and he was just like, what the fuck? How did you know? And then all of a sudden he was on a true suicide watch because it flipped him out because he ain't never told nobody that. So I would talk to them spiritually, a lot of them, and I couldn't work in the prison system because I'm so spiritually connected. It's so many people that want help. So it's just like, that thing of like saying stuff to people that I didn't know that was going on, and they're looking at me. And now this person is like paying for their crimes and stuff. I'm just saying my personal story. That shit freaked me out. I would get so nauseated from all of the energy there because I'm a beacon of light, but I'm just a little light bulb, this little light bulb that would talk to certain ones that would want to talk to me, but it would always come in a therapy kind of session. And they would all tell me, how in the world out of all these girls, you would be the one that talks to me the way that you do.
Kiki, did I ever tell you what my ex-wife's last name was? Take a
Manson?
You said Manson?
I guess Manson. That was Manson.
Oh, I was like, what? I don't know. King?
Richardson.
Really? That's crazy.
That struck me hard.
So
I don't know how
can't
you
escape them.
I don't know how you do that.
So
I was married to her for 12 years.
I think we'll wrap up things and stuff. I'll go through everybody for the final things. I'll start with Ryan, and if you got any final thoughts, man, on anything, let us know.
It was a pleasure as always, Ocho. It was super nice getting to meet you, and cheers to you for overcoming those monkeys on your back and turning it into a positive. And
yeah,
that's very inspirational. I mean, that's the thing with California. I'll criticize Cali's politics. I've known more people in 12-step that have overcome inner demons that ended up helping people in the end than anywhere else I've ever been in my life. So there's some props to California right there, because it has the best people that have gotten the drug monkeys off their backs there by far of anywhere I've ever lived. So cheers.
Kiki,
Kiki, it's always a pleasure. Jonathan, Mike, I love y'all. It's fun doing this each week.
What's your final thoughts? Wait a minute, we're not done yet. Just hold on. Kiki,
I was just waving to him. Thank you. Yeah.
Does anybody want general reading? Because I'm getting someone that's like worried. Well, I guess everyone's worried about. I'm just gonna do a general. It's not for everyone there, but who's ever watching. I'm getting the King of Cups and the Five of Cups and the Hermit upside down. So everyone is basically feeling like a hermit, and that's just the vibe that everyone's getting right now, because a lot of people were living freely and they're just unable to understand the ramifications of just closeness. Just look at it as a positive that you're able to be with your loved ones at this moment. Not taking it as a negative because you're not able to be of the world. It's not really about us being of the world. It's about us reconnecting with the earth and reconnecting with ourselves, reconnecting with our Bible, just really getting fundamentally straight whatever spiritual path that we need to do. So I just wanted to leave on that note.
Jonathan, you final?
I'm just so glad to have met Ocho, honestly.
Thank you. Thank you.
Good. Ocho, are you done, Jonathan? I'm sorry.
That's it.
Okay, Ocho, what do you think about it? Your first time being here.
I just want to thank everyone for letting me be on this. You guys are all great people, and see how easy it is to. We're all different. We all come from different backgrounds. We all look different, but we're able to carry a civilized conversation.
Yep.
And that's all it's about. Why can't everyone else be like that? Why can't we're living in 2020 right now. You know what I mean? Come on, you know what I mean? Forget politics, forget all that other stuff. Help each other.
Right.
You know what I mean? And stay your ass at home. I think that's what people need to do. Stay their ass at home so that we don't get sick. You know what I mean? But like I said, you guys are all awesome people. Mike, I think the world of you. And hey, I like your horns, bro.
Oh, well, thank you.
And Jonathan, you're an actor, you said? Are you an actor as well?
Yeah, you and I we're gonna have to talk.
Yeah, we're gonna have to definitely talk. But
I'm not. I have to teach an acting class in about an hour.
Yeah. Well, like I said, you guys are all amazing individuals. We each have something to offer people, and it was just a pleasure to talk to all you guys. All right.
So,
well, one last thing before we go. I know I gave my final thoughts. Jonathan, take care of yourself, man. I'm just sensing real heavy vibes from you right now. You seem like you're having a real tough time. I'm not trying to call you out. I'm just saying, don't let this get to you, man. We're gonna all get through this, dude.
I know what you're saying.
I'm worried about you, brother.
I know. Everybody is.
I just see it. I just feel it from you. I've seen that look in people before, and I just wanted to draw attention to, man. At least all of us, and I'm sure you have a lot more people really care, and we're all going to get through this, dude. It's a scary thing, and talking about it all the time doesn't make it any easier. Yeah. But there is a light at the end of the tunnel.
Yes.
Jonathan, I know we barely met, man, but if you ever need to talk, bro, and you know what I mean, I got nothing but love, bro. Nothing but love, brother. You know what I mean? Stay up, man.
Pretty dark period in my life, but it is what
Stay up.
I'm prone to depression myself, so it takes one to know one, dude, and I can see it with you.
I think we've all had depression. I mean,
me too.
I talked to Mike, as he knows, earlier this evening.
Yeah, I know all about it, but that's for me and him to tell you. If he wants to tell you, because he's been like I feel like he's my brother. Me and him have known each other for so long, and yeah, I did meet him from sleepaway camp because I wanted to interview him. But it's so much more than that now. It's more like he knows he can rely on me. If he needs to talk to me anytime, day or night, I'll wake up. And don't get
he asked me tonight. He said, "Do you want to talk?" I said no, and then I called him anyway.
Yeah, then he called me.
Good. And keep doing that. When you start keeping it to yourself, is when you hit the exploding points, man. Don't let that happen, dude.
Well,
hey, bro, you got a new friend in me, man. You got a new friend in me, Jonathan. And hey, I'm the biggest, baddest looking MFer around, so I got your back.
I have a friend, Nick Prince, looks like the scariest motherfucker in the world, right? 6'7", and he said to me, "Dude, I always rely on you emotionally." Yeah. And it doesn't matter how tall or how bad looking
it's
you
true.
look.
That is true.
It doesn't
that is
matter.
100% true.
And so I just said, "Dude, I mean, in my life, the last 2 years, I've saved 2 people's lives, and it sucks. There's no reward for it. You know, I broke up a street fight. Nobody cares. You know, and then my foot was shattered. Nobody cares. And would I do the same thing again? Yes, I would. But nobody cares.
Yeah.
And my foot was completely shattered. I mean, 5 metatarsal fractures and a Lisfranc ligament tear. And I was teaching tennis at the time, so I couldn't do anything. And I've since lost my wife and everything from that. But as I said,
You're in my prayers, brother. You're in my prayers, brother.
No, but as I said to Mike, he said, "Do you want to do the show tonight?" I said, "What else would I do?"
We're glad you did, man. I hope you're glad you did too.
Yeah. I was glad to meet you, man.
But I said the same thing about the instance of where I jumped into that fight, you know, which I had nothing to do with. If you give me 100 times, I would do the same thing 100 times again. That's just the reality. And there's no reward for doing the right thing. It doesn't work that way.
Yeah.
Sometimes you get downright punished for it.
Yeah.
Maybe, but spiritually, maybe not.
Well, in the end, no. In the end, you should always do what you think is the right thing.
Yeah.
So,
I mean, I got screamed at by my family for, like, you're an idiot. I can't believe you jumped in, you know? And I was watching one friend get killed and the other one go into prison. And that, like, clicked in my mind in, like, 5 seconds. And
So
they were probably both about the size of Ocho, you know? And I was like, I can't let this go on. I can't.
Jonathan, did that reading reside with you? Because I'm feeling as soon as Ryan said something that, because I said that reading, did that reside with you? Because everything shifted.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, I hope it's okay that I brought that up while we're still filming and
Right.
talking and stuff.
I
But I
because
definitely think,
I know
Jonathan,
I
we
did
need to
the reading
spend a
and
little
then
bit of time
Ryan
just
said
focus on you.
No,
something.
it's okay. I did something, and it's been hard for me to reconcile, you know, because they were 2 huge guys who both were friends of mine, and one was going to die, one was going to end up in prison, and not jail. I mean, and I was trying to reconcile that in my mind, because it wasn't just jail. I mean, because he was hitting him while he was out.
Can I give you a suggestion?
Please.
Can I give you a suggestion real quick? Because I know I had touched on the base of the spirituality and stuff. So when we do gestures of good, we should never ask for payment. We should just know if you jumped into that and you said that you would do it again, it shouldn't hurt you in such a way as if you needed a reward to say, I need a pat on the back because I did that.
But do you understand what happened?
I understand, but sometimes
it fell on my foot.
I understand. There's things that I've done at work that I, you know.
No, but
when did this happen, Jonathan?
They fell on my foot. And
when
lost
did this
my
happen?
income. What's up?
When did this happen, Jonathan?
About 2 years ago. I was in Venice Beach and I was FaceTiming with my son. And then these 2 morons, one of which was an accountant, and the other was a organizer who had done concerts for me, were fighting over a football game. And like at the beginning of the season. And so I'm in Venice Beach just talking with my son. and I see my friend Terrence walk by, a bone sticking out of his finger. And
So
I'm like, what the fuck is that? So I walk into the Cold Stone Creamery and I said, do you guys have any ice? And they're like, no, we don't carry ice. And I'm like, oh my God, this is an ice cream store. They don't have ice. I said, how about you give me the cheapest ice cream cone you have? And then the girl said, what's going on? And I said, my friend's bone is sticking out of his finger. And so then they said to me, we have some frozen blueberries. I was like, well, that'll work. So I put the frozen blueberries on his hand. I didn't understand the previous part of this story at all. Because I was just FaceTiming with Micah. And apparently Kyle and Terrence had been fighting the whole time. And they had escorted Kyle out of the back of the bar. These guys are both 220. And I said, Terrence, you can't go home with your finger like that. You at least have to ice it, and then call an ambulance. Next thing you know, I'm icing his hand, and Kyle walks up the street, and Terrence says, you want to go again? And I went, what the fuck? I had no idea what this fight was about in the first place. None. And so Kyle tackles him. He's 20 years younger than Terrence, and he just starts pounding his face into the pavement. Like nothing I've ever seen before in my life. He's just literally every punch is pounding Terrence's face into the pavement, and I'm starting to see his body start to wilt. And I think, oh, no, that looks like it's not good. And I said, fuck it. Because I grew up as a wrestler, and so I jumped up on Kyle and I put him in a full Nelson. Which at the time I thought, wow, that's illegal. Which is a weird thing to think of at that moment. But then Kyle slips and he falls on my cowboy boot, and my boot literally falls. My toe goes to my heel, and you hear these huge, three large pops, and both of them freak out, and I scream at both of them because they're like, "Oh my God, Jonathan, are you okay?" And I said, "You motherfuckers need to get the fuck out of here before the cops come here, because one or both of you are going to prison." And not even in jail. They were going to prison. Kyle couldn't stop hitting.
So Jonathan, hold on 1 second. So Jonathan, so you're telling me that when the foot was injured, you told those two people to leave?
Yes.
And so I'm going to say this, and I'm in a way that I don't know what. Oh Jesus, can you stop? Oh, hold on. I don't know who it is that keeps bugging me, but they're telling me.
You guys both know what I do.
No, Jonathan, hold on.
Jonathan,
hold on. That someone keeps telling me to tell you it's been 2 years, and that you have to let it go, and you probably could be suffering from the thought process of allowing them to get away with something, and that could be why you're holding on to this, because it was 2 years ago. I understand that your foot was injured.
I agree with you 100%.
So you have to allow that pain to go away, because if you allow yourself to still think about the pain of the foot,
I even got blamed, Kiki. I even got blamed by my family for it.
I understand, but you have to let that pain go. You're reliving it as if it happened. I'm thinking that the shit happened while Corona happened. 2 years ago is a long time to go through the grieving stages. There's things that I have done in my youth. I was pregnant with my daughter and jumped out of a U-Haul and my hip was dislocated, but I'm not thinking about that.
Kiki, I am 100% with you. But I'm not going to lie to you. It was a profound, I mean, it's the reason my wife is leaving me. It is a profound moment. I remember that I thought about the fact that I wore my cowboy boots for the first time in like 6 months. I always wore my flip-flops. My foot got trapped under him. Okay?
What do you say, Ryan?
I'm saying
After he's done.
Ryan, I get you. Give me a second.
That's why I said after you're done.
Yeah. Give me a second. That wasn't the first time I saved somebody's life that in 4 months. I did it again a couple months later. And I realized that there is no glory in that at all. None. Zip. It doesn't work that way.
Can everybody see that card?
Nobody gives a fucking rat's ass.
Okay, Jonathan.
The fact is that I'm going to keep doing it.
Jonathan, as you're talking.
Can I say something to him before anybody else goes on?
Go ahead.
Jonathan, I'm going to tell you straight up. All my life, I've suffered with depression on and off, and I can by no means understand what you're thinking. I can only put myself in your position, and I know when the demons start whispering in my ear, when I get in that mode, they're going to bring up things from 2 years ago, 10 years ago, failed relationships, everything else. You're just take care of yourself, because right now, if it's anything like when I'm going through what you seem to be going through right now, everything is going to wear on you, man. And it's a tough situation because you're stuck at home. You're stuck with roommates. There's all kinds of crazy shit going on. Just watch those demons that are going to gather around you, man, because they're working on you.
They'll just attack. Yeah.
You're a good person and a sensitive person, and all that shit's going to come to a head, and it's just going to make you think less and less of yourself. You're going to think that nobody cares. You'll lie to yourself if you get into any kind of state of mind where I have been.
Here's the thing,
when
Ryan.
It's hitting me, and I don't want that to happen to you.
Well, I appreciate that, but here's the thing. I've done good things, and I'm happy for that. My ending my life is not out of depression. And I keep trying to explain that to people. And even, I can't explain it to my son, which is horrifying. But there's an existential benefit to a lot of this. And I'm not saying this to be mean. I'm 54 years old. There is a point where you don't have a benefit.
You said something very profound there. You said ending your life, and that's telling me that you're having suicidal thoughts. Dude, don't make a permanent solution to a temporary problem. Try to get through this and just see where it ends up. You have all the time in the world to end things that way. Weigh it out as long as you can, brother. Please, for us, if not yourself, for your son, if not for you.
You have your son, bro.
My son's the only thing that keeps me from doing it.
This card, right?
Well, thank all things holy and unholy for your son right now.
I said my son is the only thing that keeps me from doing it.
Yeah. What's that card?
Think of him and think of how it would affect him. That's what you need to think.
It scares the shit out of me, and so I don't want to do it, and because of him. But it is very difficult to live every day in pain. It really is.
Kiki, what's your card mean?
The card means death.
I spoke to Mike about it earlier tonight. I said,
we talked.
This is really hard. I don't like feeling in pain every day, all day. I just don't. It's not okay with me.
a bad deal he's going through, you all. It's a bad deal. You know, it's.
And I didn't mean for this podcast to be, you know, the Jonathan Tiersten fucking.
No, but maybe you need that. Maybe you need to know, have support. I'm glad it turned into that for you, man. You deserve it.
Without me telling you what's going on, and I'm not, just know that Jonathan needs all the positive vibes of people sending him prayers, because right now he's going through a lot of shit, and it's really a privilege to have him be a part of this with us, because I know what he's going through right now, and I know that he's told me things he ain't told nobody else, and I feel privileged to know that he trusts me enough to tell me those things. You know, that he feels that it's okay for him to tell me those things, and to me, that's absolutely amazing. And however way I can help to keep him alive, I'll do it. If I have to call him every day, and he tells me leave the fuck alone, or I'll call you back later, at least I'm calling him and letting him know from this point on. And I'll do that. And I've done that for people. You know, since I've done the Facebook Live, I've helped 3 people not kill themselves who've called me. And they're still alive today. And I don't want no glory for it. I don't do anything to have glory. Hell, I do a YouTube page that only has 137 people that subscribe to it. To me, it's not about money. It's about me and my wife doing things together. It's about us doing things together. You know, I was just telling my wife a minute ago, I said, if we could get this to somewhere where somebody could see it, the videos we done is golden. People would sit and be thought-provoked by what we talk about. And
well, I can tell you guys that Felissa said to me today, she said, I'm so terrified, and I don't want you to feel like this. And so, I mean, and I hate to think of it in a way that is like to make money. But she said the same thing you said, where she said, you can't do this. You can't do this. And I just said, I don't know. That's weird.
And for people who don't know who he's talking about, Felissa, she's the girl that was in sleepaway camp. They're still best friends to this day. So everybody might not know that. She's a girl from sleepaway camp, and they've been friends ever since.
Tonight, she said the same damn thing that Ryan said.
And some of us know what it feels like, dude. I mean, nobody can know your experience exactly, but some of us have been in the same room.
No, and I agree with you, Ryan. But the fact is that I'm gonna have to figure this out.
Right.
I suffer with bipolar depression. I have pills. Before this show, I have to take Ativan because I have social anxiety.
Well, that brings me to a point. I remember when me and Kiki were doing stuff together and she dropped off the face of the planet. She come to me and we talked about things that happened with her that I don't think anybody else knew but her family. I mean, which I'll never tell anybody. But she told me things and I was scared to death for her. And that's why I try to keep in touch with Jonathan, because I know I'm scared to death for him. I live in Kentucky. I don't live nowhere around New Jersey. You know,
I have to deal with my situation. It is what it is, and I don't want to ever disappoint my son, and that sucks.
Yeah. Just keep your son on your mind. He is more powerful than the depression demons.
That's who needs to be in the forefront of all your thoughts.
I agree.
He'll help get you through this, brother.
And Jonathan, I'm honored to have met you, man.
Thanks for being so open with us, man.
My friend.
Yes, we do. Yeah. We do.
I want to say
as far as your acting career, I can help you a lot.
Thank you, brother. Yeah, we will talk.
I want to say something.
Can you explain that to him? Wait a minute. Mike, can you explain that to him? How I can help him on his acting career?
Well, he knows a lot of people, actually. You know,
I know, but I can help him, right?
Yeah, you can help him. Yeah, definitely. And
because I'm not, I don't try and help myself. I still got to teach my own acting class at 11 p.m. tonight. It's brutal.
What I want to say to you all is, if you all feel like we need to come together again before Wednesday, we can do it. We're all sitting at home anyway. So
Yeah,
if
just
y'all
let me
want to
know. Let me know.
if y'all want
Anytime.
to do another
I'm
one,
interested
I'm,
by that.
I'm always here for you too, Jonathan, man. You know, I feel a
Ryan, I love
connection with
you.
you, and I understand. I love you too, man.
Yeah,
and
that's
if y'all need to do another one, but I would just want to say this real quick, okay? Michael, you're welcome to be part of the family and do this with us every week if you'd like. Um,
I'm down.
I love each and every one of you in your own way. I can't believe something, Ryan. How is the guy that we met from? What's his name? Has the record label? How's he doing in New York? He's in pretty bad shape there.
Who are you talking about?
Dave
Dalton's from California. If you're talking about him.
No. We met from what's his name in New York. Shit, he's got that death metal band. Remember? That's how we met each other. I can't think of his name.
I think he did an article on me and he turned you on to me. I didn't really know him that well, so I have no clue. I haven't heard from him.
I just thought I'd ask you, but anyway, each and every one of you, I love you for your own reason. Me and Ocho have gotten close, except for he ain't sent me John White yet. But,
I know. I apologize. But I will send that to you. I got also El Coyote, which is out too. I can send you that one as well too.
I've been waiting.
Ironically, that's the restaurant that Sharon Tate had her last meal, the El Coyote in L.A. before the infamous night.
I know, and it's a chain.
Look at that. Look how everything's intertwined with each other. Talk about El Coyote. You talk about having a movie. Jonathan, this. I think that when I put this together, I didn't think it would be like this. I really didn't. I didn't think that that it would be so thought provoking. Because to me, my wife loves listening to these conversations. You know, she's always like, "Are you going to do another show anytime soon?" Because she loves listening to them. Because
I'm down to come back whenever you guys want me.
So, don't leave when we get done because I need to talk to you all about something. Okay, so don't leave, all of you, when I stop recording. But I just want to say I love you all. Everybody out there that watches this, please support each other. Please help your fellow man in any way you can, and let people know about what we're doing. Make this thing be where people can see it, because I really, really think that we're doing something good, and I think that we'd love to have your all's input and have you all tell us what you all think too. So please do it. From Ryan, from Ocho, from Kiki, from Jonathan, from me, Blaststone Mike. Thank you for watching Out of the Box, and we'll see you all next week.